Good morning. Welcome to Life, Love and the Pursuit of Real Estate / crypto. I have Troy with me this morning as a third part of our crypto chat. Good morning, Troy.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah. Now, this morning, I thought I'd take a little bit of a different line on this. I'm probably, out of the group of people I've spoken to about crypto, I am the least educated. I have my son who's in business with Troy and another guy, and who I get some information off. And I have a few other friends of mine that are very, very heavily invested. And I'm talking about 7-figure plus invested in crypto and doing very well and have done very well. And some of them bought Bitcoin when it was well under $1. So that shows how long ago they were invested in it. So I've been on the peripheral of this crypto information boom and run pretty much since it started. So what I thought I'd do is, for people of my genre and other genres that aren't as well informed as our friends here, I wanted to cover a couple of things that are probably a bit economically based on a whiteboard, so we could have a look and start giving you some idea of how we think it'll work. Now, one of the perplexing things with crypto, like many other things that have taken off, is that everyone is speculating where it's going to be, whether it will fail, whether it will go further, whether it will be whether it will be a continuing form of transacting and basically financially communicating with another person, whether there'll be any central bank type involvement later on. There's all those questions that beckon. So I don't have the answers for that, but what I do have is I have a basic understanding of what may affect it. And that's what I wanted to talk about first. So John, I'll get on the whiteboard, right? And we'll just have a crack. Now, I don't pose to be an expert, as I said, and I don't pose to be right, but this is my thought process on it. And I've now got Troy here for banter. And so because Troy's very well adversed with this, or very well informed with this, what will happen is you're happy to interject with me, and if you think I'm on the wrong plane, interrupt and we can have some banter over it, right? But this video is about interaction with you guys at home that are watching this or at work, and giving you some information from a basic platform to a more informative platform, so to speak. So here, we'll have a crack at this and see how we go, Troy. Right, now, so we have crypto. We might just put a $ next to that so we understand it's a currency. Now, the first question I asked the other night, and John and I were doing a little bit of a table, is what affects crypto? One is perception, belief. The other is purchase options. And I was just talking to Troy about that before. It's the availability to buy things. And it is a general human trait that we get when we buy something. There is a euphoria that comes with it. Ever so small and sometimes ever so high. So it depends on what it is. And it's no different to, if you ever watch Simon Sinek, who's a brilliant speaker, he talks about the effect that the mobile phone has when you hear the text noise go off. And that it creates an endorphin in the body, like euphoria. And that's what buying something does. So no matter whether you are bartering from the Stone Ages, or you're buying something in USD or AUD, or with crypto, there's a euphoria that comes with that. So that's what I'm talking about here. The other thing that affects crypto is cash in, or people investing in it. And of course, the opposite to cash in is cash out. Then we've got, actually, and I'll go around this the other way. We can be affected by government policy. No different to when China was looking at legislating against Bitcoin. It was Bitcoin, wasn't it, Troy? Yeah. Against Bitcoin. Then all of a sudden it went flat. What does that mean to you and I? That means that my personal development coach, Dr. Fred, calls it the dimension that we can't control. because in your business, there'll be many factors that you control. You can control how hard you work. You can control the price of your product to an extent. You can control who you market to, a lot of those things. But the one thing that you generally can't control is government policy that can affect your business directly. So we still don't know where this is going to be in relation to crypto, do we, Troy?
No idea.
Not yet. Okay. And then the other thing that affects crypto is alts. Just tell everyone what alts are, Troy.
An alternative to Bitcoin. So the other currencies that are available in the crypto space.
Yeah. Okay. What a Dash,
Litecoin, Ethereum. There's hundreds.
Yeah. Okay. You said the other day there's about 1,000 of them.
I think about 1,300.
Wow.
Or more.
Okay.
Probably more by now. Yeah.
Well, just on that, what do you think will happen with that? Do you reckon some will just dissipate and go out of the market?
I think it'll be very much like the World Wide Web. There'll be a lot of them, and then there'll be very few of them. I think it might be very much like internet browsers, as discussed before. Netscape used to be the main one, and then Internet Explorer came out from Microsoft, and then Google Chrome followed, and now we all use Google Chrome mostly.
And then
me too. And when the family speaks to their child now and says, looking on the internet, you don't say look it up on the internet, you say Google it.
And that's a really good point. One of the things I found with branding, you talk about, at 55 now, Troy, how old are you now?
28.
Right. At my age, I remember Coke and Pepsi from years ago. I don't even see their logos, but their logos are embedded in my head. So when I came in this morning and you had a can of Coke, straight away, I had recognition and I hadn't even seen the can. Just my peripheral vision picked up the can. And that is that's why sometimes it's like with the Ford emblem or the BMW emblem or the Mercedes emblem. Why haven't those guys changed those emblems? They might alter its colouring and its toning, but they never change the emblem, right? And it's funny with Bitcoin because that's what I've noticed. So the reality here is that we're now living in a society that's brand focused, right? So even to the point of when I was growing up, Mossimo were a very, very big brand. Now there's so many other brands, and like even with Christian's apparel label now, he's got. Although the merchandise is really good, the reality of it is there are some of his logos that really resonate with the public. And like when he designed these Crypto Hub tops, Crypto Hub, like not being funny, they've gone great. I can't believe how well they've gone. So but because the logo is part of it. Now maybe in 10 years' time, I don't know what you guys will be doing, but the reality of it is that if crypto is still a strong currency, let me tell you that logo is going to be big. Because the logo is cool. In my opinion, So branding is important. All right. So from that point of view, they're just the basic things we think that can affect crypto so far. So now that you have a basic understanding of that, the next part of this is we want to talk about how this will affect the market, or we presume how this will affect the market moving forward. So at the moment, what was Bitcoin this morning? And today, what's today, John the 14th? Yes.
I think it's around 16,000 US.
Yeah. So Bitcoin today.
It's been fluctuating quite a bit this morning.
Sorry?
It's been fluctuating quite a bit this morning.
It has it?
Yeah.
Why do you believe? Do you know any reason for that?
Just a technical analysis point of view. It's completed a few patterns that should have gone bullish and it's failed. There's been a lot of manipulation in the market. All
right. Can you just while we're here? I'll grab a seat.
So
can we talk about that?
Yeah, we can touch base.
Manipulation. Yep, go.
So in regards to the patterns that happen, they display what should happen next. There's a pattern called an inverse head and shoulders. You will see it drop. You'll then see it rise a little bit, and you'll see it do a nice big drop.
Yes, I've seen
and then the market's like, no, we're going back up. It goes back up, and then
is that because that's because of the buy back in?
The buy back in, the bullish. It becomes a bullish trend again.
Yep.
And that's a nice reversal pattern where it comes back up, and now we're bullish again. It normally comes out of here very solid. When it got to a high point and started going sideways to then shoot up, a lot of manipulation came in where a lot of people with a lot of holdings of Bitcoin were putting up, they call them sell walls, which mean that they've got a large quantity that they put up for sale, so the price can't get above that until they're purchased. They manipulate it and hold the price down. So when it gets to it, they try to get through it. The buyers, myself and everyone else and whoever's buying at the time, if they can't get through the wall, it will then bounce and come back down. So that's what's happened, is hit a nice big wall, and then it's shot back down. So at the moment, it's on a downwards trend.
When we look at the functionality, usability, etc., and one of the things that surprised me is that in my learnings from you guys is that I found that the Bitcoin from a technical viewpoint is nowhere near as strong as some of its competitors.
Correct, yeah.
It's slower, etc., etc.
Yep.
But it's obviously still used as the base.
Correct.
Or trading platform, right?
Yep.
So with that then, let me say this to you. We are now in what I call, when a child grows, you got its infancy period,
Correct.
right? And before you get to the teenage years, you got those pain in the arse years. You know those, John?
Yep.
where you can't control them, they're everywhere. I think crypto's in that mode because we really don't know what's happening and we don't know how it's going to grow.
Yep.
Now, but one thing that I do know is that when you've got a small amount of people that own a majority of the product, it's beyond a monopoly. Because a monopoly normally means there's one guy controlling.
Correct.
But the reality of that is that when you've got, and they call it, there's duopolies and all that stuff, but when you've got a very small percentage controlling a very large amount of wealth, that manipulation that you spoke about before will happen on a grander scale.
Of course.
Right? And sometimes we won't even know that.
Yep.
Right? So that's where I see the danger with this. But that's no different to trading in currencies or trading on the stock market.
Correct.
And there's been some share fluctuation this week here in Australia. And when I spoke to my broker, he goes, there's about 5 people that own the majority of those stocks that are playing around with it at the moment. They're trading in and out of it all the time. Okay. I can't do anything about that.
You can't.
Right? So the only thing I've got the choice of not doing it and not trading.
That's the only option. You either trade or don't trade.
Or holding and shutting up. And waiting,
Yeah.
right? And that's the other thing with crypto is I believe that if you're in crypto now, that don't worry about the fluctuations, I think. And I think this is probably the best opinion that I can give. And stay for the course of the crypto. And that could be for a year, 2 years, 5 years, or 10 years as we discussed. But if you want to make some good capital growth, you have to pick 1, 2, 3, or 4 coins and you have to stick with them. Right? And ride the wave of fluctuations because there's going to be a lot of manipulation in this market. So when you get into this market, you have to understand that you're going to be manipulated. But understanding too that everyone that's manipulating that market, they're going to buy in, buy out, at some point will want to trade out. And they'll want to trade out on a high. And that's what you're waiting for.